Hi, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Tyler Block, and this is Real Value with the Block Group. Thanks for tuning in to our first episode. The purpose of the channel is really to talk about the things that bring you value, whether that's finance, wealth, real estate, personal development. We're here for all of that. And to that end, today, my goal really is just to kind of share with you my background and what my story is. So please, I invite you to join this journey. If you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. So I don't know about you, but I've had some really big failures in my life. And I feel like that's a story that resonates with people because most of us don't want to share that. And if you're like me, then you failed so bad that you thought maybe you could never recover. So where I want to take this today is show you where I've been, but more importantly, where I'm going now, and maybe give you that inspiration to say, yes, I can do this, and failure is not fatal. The person that you're looking at today, 6 years ago, would have been unrecognizable. I was in probably the darkest hour of my life. I was depressed. I was angry. I was belligerent. I was in a job that I hated. I was working more hours than I could reasonably fit into a day. And as a result of that, I was someone that my own family didn't want to be around. In fact, when I decided to make a change, my own father said, no, you won't succeed. That's incredibly hurtful. And I don't know if you've been there or if you've had that experience where a family member has told you that they don't even want to be around you, but that's where I was at. I didn't get there overnight though, right? That space was a decade in the making. And it was from a series of setbacks that, had I just overcome them, I probably would have been okay. And yet, for most of us, it is that kind of spiral effect where one setback leads to the next setback, leads to the next setback. So for me, that setback started at the Air Force Academy. In 2007, I was on top of the world. I went to one of the most prestigious universities in the United States. I was one of 1,400 cadets to be accepted that year, and I felt like I could do no wrong. Boy, did I get knocked down a peg. Between the military duties, the academic rigors, the emotional breakdown of that first and second year, really being away from home for the first time and making choices that ultimately would shape who I became. That took me from being, the big fish in the little pond here in Xenia, Ohio, to, oh my God, where do I go from here? And long story short, after 2 years, my Air Force Academy journey came to an end. I decided it was time to try out college because that's what I was told was the path to success. You had to graduate from college in order to be successful. So I went to Ohio State, and now being free from all of the constraints that a military academy puts onto you, I was able to join a fraternity and party and do all of the things that you expect to do in college, except for go to class, which is really why you go to college, right? And obviously, after so much time, the university says you can't stay here if you're not going to go to class. So that didn't work out. And at this point, my parents were starting to see a trend. They said, you got to figure stuff out. So I said, okay, I still have a heart for service. I'm going to try out being a firefighter. So I got certified as an emergency medical technician. I got certified as a firefighter, and I gave that route a try, which was really, really good for me. To be honest with you, the first couple years that I was doing that, I felt like I was where I belonged. I felt like I was doing a good job, that I was learning a lot, that I was good at what I did, and that I was fulfilling that desire to serve that had really been void since I left the academy. The challenge that I had was I was only paid to work part-time, which meant I had to take on multiple jobs. I had to continue going to school to get higher levels of certification. And between all of the work and all of the school and starting a new family, I was expending all of my workable hours in a single week. So where the normal person works, 40, maybe 50 hours in a week, I was working 80, 90, 100 hours in a week and just getting overly burnt out. And on top of it, I was seeing the worst of the worst that society has to offer, from drugs to death to car accidents to you name it, it was there. After 5 years of doing that, so 10 years total, I got to the point where I was in just the worst shape that I can imagine anyone ever being in. I don't wish that on anyone ever, being in that position. And it's a position that when you're in it, you don't realize how hurtful you're being to the other people around you. So, in December 2016, I came to my dad and I said, Dad, I've got to make a change. I am not making any money. I've got kids to feed. I'm struggling to pay my bills. You're a real estate broker. Why don't you just give me a job? And for me, admitting that I had failed was a failure. Asking my dad for a job was a failure, because I had never wanted to be in business. I never wanted to be in real estate. It just wasn't my thing. And it was an even bigger failure when he said no. So for me, that was a slap in the face. I couldn't even get help from my own father. And I didn't understand why. Like I said, I was blind to the impact I was having on people around me. I was comfortable with being angry all the time, because at least when I was angry, I felt something. And it took me 2 months to come to terms with that version of myself. And finally, my dad called me up. And I don't know why I answered the call, because I hadn't talked to him, but I decided to pick it up. And he said, hey, let's go to breakfast. Again, I don't know why I said yes, but I agreed. And at that breakfast, my dad said, the most hurtful thing I've ever done was tell you no. And I don't want to be that kind of dad that just leaves you hanging. I want to help you, but you have to understand that this version of you will not be successful in real estate. You won't be successful in sales. Really, you're going to struggle to be successful in life. You've got to make some major changes. So he walked me through a process called PTFAR. And if you aren't familiar with that, let me explain it to you. PTFAR is an acronym that stands for your programming, thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. And it's a graph, so it's cyclical. Programming is at the top. Your programming affects your thoughts, whether that's subconsciously or consciously. That's all going through your head, and your thoughts are what control your actions. Your thoughts control your feelings. So how you feel about things. Me being angry about my circumstances. Me being angry at the people who call for service because how dare they interrupt my day? Those were all feelings that I had that were based on the thoughts that I had, which again was coming from that programming. And because I was choosing to feel angry, that affected my actions. And my actions were, I was abusive, I was mean, I was just really nasty to be around. And understandably, those sorts of actions led to the results where people didn't want to be around me, people didn't want to hire me, and I was stuck in positions where I was never going to get out of where I was. So he said, what we have to do is we have to change your programming. Otherwise, this cycle will continue. We've got to pull you out of the fire and EMS world that you're in. We've got to get you away from the negative influences that you're seeing, that you're experiencing. And we've got to change the way you think about things. And that starts with affirmations. So I am a happy person. I am an opportunity magnet. I like to be around people instead of I hate people. It was not an immediate, I'm good to go, right? And yet through the coaching that he helped me through, and through the mentorship, he said, okay, you're at a point now where, because you've committed to making these changes, we can move on to the next step. And that next step was getting my real estate license. So I took the tax return that I got for 2017. I enrolled in real estate classes and got my real estate license. And from there, it's been a whirlwind. It's been 6 years since that's happened. I went from making almost no money, living in a crappy apartment that was full of health and safety violations. I literally had to call the police and fire department multiple times to come to my apartment to make sure that the safety standards were upkept, because the management company wouldn't. To now, I have a successful LLC of my own. We put our kids in private school. We were able to give back to charity, and we actually bought our first house. And all of that came about because my dad had the courage to tell me no on the worst day of my life. So I say all that to say this. If you're in that place where you don't know how you're going to get out of the situation that you're in, if you failed so bad that you don't think you will ever be able to succeed, I'm here to tell you today, that's not the case. You can find that mentor, you can find that person who has the courage to talk reality to you and to speak value into your life. And if you don't know who that person is, please reach out. I'd be more than happy to be that person for you and help you figure out where you need to go. But more importantly, I have faith that you have the ability to succeed, and I'm here to help you go through that journey. So again, I'm Tyler Blott with the Blott Group. This has been Real Value. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you saw, and I look forward to seeing you next time.